Hey guys, how's it going? It's me, Josh Halter, the dude himself from the BioDude. Today I'm going to be talking about how to set up your Western Hognose Terra Sahara BioDude BioActive Kit. The Terra Sahara substrate that you see right here is a one-of-a-kind substrate on the market, 100% proprietary by the dude himself. One thing that makes this substrate so unique, it is meant for drier biomes that have an ambient humidity between 20 and 35%, and sometimes even lower than that. What this substrate does, it generates the proper air pockets needed for proper root development in your plants, such as your succulents, some types of cacti, and sometimes even drier types of other plants, such as your grasses, sometimes your healthy edibles for your bearded dragons, and other types of plants as well. It also generates the air pockets necessary for your springtail and isopod development, which is very beneficial because they typically stay in the middle and bottom layer as opposed to the top layer. It's also very important to note that the Terra Sahara does not need a drainage layer. Because you are using such a drier environment, there shouldn't be that much water in the tank that a drainage layer is necessary. One thing that makes this substrate so unique and a one-of-a-kind is when you look at heavy desert substrates that are soil-based. One of the largest problems that they have is they get compressed. And when you have drier biomes and the substrate gets super compressed with water that doesn't have anywhere to go, it can start growing really nasty anaerobic bacteria. And what can happen is that bacteria can break down into the substrate as well as break down more of the substrate and create a byproduct called hydrogen sulfate. And when you're dealing with animals that love to burrow, it creates hydrogen sulfate pockets in the substrate, which can cause serious damage to your herbs and even kill them. And when I designed the Sahara, that is one of the biggest things that I kept in mind. The Sahara not only uses the springtails and isopods for the bioactive cleaning, it also utilizes specific types of fungi and specific types of bacteria that occur naturally from your biodegradables and with a little bit of moisture in the substrate to help balance the ecological processes. So for starters, I'm going to go over and I'm going to dump in my Terra Sahara. This is a 10-gallon tank. One 6-quart bag of my Terra Sahara will cover 1.5 inches cubic foot. So I take the first bag and I'm going to dump it and I'm going to evenly distribute it. So you see here, one bag gave me about 1.5 inches. I always like to have at least a 3 to 4 inch layer of substrate. The deeper the substrate, the more effective it's going to be. So we're going to take it. I'm going to open up this bag right now. Okay. So, as you can see, I got both of my bags established in here, and I'm going to move it around and distribute the soil how I would like it to be distributed. Something that you're going to notice about the Sahara is it's very loose, but it's very dense. And that is what I designed it to do. This is not designed to replicate sand. This has almost no sand in it. It is designed to replicate the rocky substrate, or your rocky granite types of biomes that almost all desert animals use. Not only that, it retains all tunnels and burrows. The biggest thing when you're maintaining your Sahara is you want to give the tank a light watering once a week, which I will show you guys at the end of this video. So after I get the initial layer of Sahara down, I'm going to take my mister that has fresh water in it, and I always use a dechlorinator. I'm all about Reptisafe. It's a great product. It's really affordable. It takes away the chloramines, chlorines, ammonias, and all that other nasties that are in tap water. Open it up, 1 drop. You need about 1 drop per half gallon to a gallon. And then I'm going to put this on here, and then what I'm going to do is give the top layer of this a good light mist. How I'm misting this tank is something that you should do every single day, in my opinion. I recommend it because it gives your snakes the ability to drink the dew, which most of the times in the wild, that's really what they do first thing in the morning. It also helps rejuvenate your substrate. The next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to add the biodegradables. Now, the biodegradables, what they're going to do is essentially slowly but surely get broken down. As they break down, they put organic nutrition back into the soil. And what's important about that is as organic nutrition is put back into the soil, it gives necessary energy to your plants, as well as keeping your substrate happy and healthy. So as you can see, I put my initial layer of leaf litter down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mix it up. So what this is going to help with is going to help disperse your springtails and isopods. It's also going to help create more air pockets in the substrate, which again is extremely important. After you get it all mixed together, I'm going to take a little bit more and scatter them on the top. So after we get this scatter right on the top here, we have a nice thick layer of leaves mixed with the substrate with a nice general layer of leaf litter on top. And I'm then going to give it another mist. Okay. All right. Now, the next step is adding your beneficial drivers of bioactivity, which are your springtails and isopods. These guys have been around since the age of the dinosaurs, and their entire evolutionary niche is to hide and eat decomposing matter. Decomposing matter can be species, can be skin, it can be plants, it can be wood. Essentially what will happen is they break these things down and put essential nutrients back into your substrate. First we jump in our springtails. How easy that is. Then we dump in our isopods. For the Sahara, I'll typically use powder blue isopods or dwarf purples. Dwarf purples, you have to be a little bit more diligent and making sure the soil is always moist in the bottom and middle layers, whereas your powder blues, that tank can completely dry out. The powder blues are a lot larger, so when you're dealing with lizards, they're going to get picked off, so I usually go down to the dwarf purples. So after your springs and isopods are put in, they will disperse within the tank, breed, and create a sustainable population. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 pieces of cork bark. And the first piece of cork bark, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create almost an underground cave. This is going to be essentially a humid cave for the snake. And what that's going to do, when you have little humidity pockets into the tank, it really helps snakes with respiration, hydration, and with shedding. It helps with hydration because just like people, as snakes exhale through the process of osmosis, they lose water. If the humidity in the air is a little bit higher, dew will show up in the tank and then they'll drink the water, which is typically what they do in the mornings. But what this does is when you have a little cavern in here that they can feel secure in, and it has a little bit of a humidity spike throughout the day, it really helps keep them, nice, happy, and healthy, especially when you're used to living in a harsh desert environment. And then I'm actually gonna take the other piece of cork and I'm just gonna go right like this. And okay, so after that, I got a succulent here. Plants with snakes can be tricky. Western hognoses, being the fantastic derpy snakes that they are, they have a tendency not to destroy the plants that I put in there. However, once in a while, you'll get one that can be a little bit of a pain. As far as your plants go, for these snakes, larger succulents work great. Drier cacti that are spineless, such as your spiny prickly pear cacti, work great. And they look really nice. So I'm going to take this succulent and I'm going to put this right here in the corner. Biggest thing to remember about succulents, they thrive off neglect. Neglect. You don't need to water this plant every single day. You need to water this plant once every 2 weeks. As long as you're keeping your middle layer and bottom layer of your Sahara somewhat moist, you're not ever going to have to worry about it. Next step is adding a little bit of something for for the Hoggy to climb on. I think I'm gonna go something like this right here. Oh yeah, I think that looks nice. Actually, no, let's see. I love 10 gallons, but sometimes they can be hard to work with because I don't know what I want to do. Okay, so I got that in place, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a water dish right here on the cool side. So I'm going to have my hot spot on this side. I'm going to have my cool and my cool spot on this side. As far as heating your tank, there's a couple different ways that you can do it. You can use under tank heaters, or you can use a heat bulb sitting on the top. So, under tank heaters made by ZooMed, in my opinion, are the best out there. There's other brands, but these seem to be the most effective and don't seem to get scorching hot that can cause burns on your reptiles. There's two different approaches that you can use. You can put it at the bottom, which I typically don't do. I always smack it right here on the side. So what will happen is the heat is pushing this way on the side. Since the Sahara holds all the necessary air pockets, all that heat is going to be pushing through the substrate. It's going to create a sauna. Notice how one of the hides is on the sauna side. Again, shedding, hydration, respiration. Key things that you need to make sure your animal's taken care of, especially in a desert environment. It's always recommended to monitor temperature and humidity. I really like the Vivarium Electronics digital thermal hygrometer. I like it because it's accurate to 0.01% or a degree. These guys have been around for a long time, and I've been using this product for years, and I've always had a lot of success with it, and I found them to be pretty high quality when you compare them to the other reptile and amphibian hygrometers and thermometers on the market. And then, as you can see, my LED right on top here. This is my 8-inch LED, which is perfect for a 10-gallon, and you can see how well it illuminates this tank. Next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get this little bundle of joy put in here. Oh, this snake is adorable. All right, come on. So again, this is a Western hognose snake. You guys can see how little we are, and we're going to be right at home here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put you right in here, and I'm going to let you explore. Oh, and again, guys, my name is Josh Halter. I am the owner and founder of the BioDude. I work really, really hard on all of my products. I think that my products really stand out from when you look at a lot of my, I don't want to say competition, but I can call it competition. Because every single one of my products is proprietary and made by me. Every single one of my products was not only designed with making your life easier, but making the husbandry on point for your animals, giving them the best care possible that they deserve. You guys can visit my website at www.thebiodude.com. Please subscribe to my videos on YouTube, and definitely follow me on Facebook for a bunch of specials. Thank you guys very much. The dude abides.